Hello everyone and welcome. In this video you're going to learn a lot of Ruby. We're going to do 5 different Ruby apps, each one with a different learning intention. By the end of this video you're going to improve your Ruby skills and have a much better understanding of the language. So let me show you the apps you're actually going to build. So I'm going to go to my terminal and then I'm going to show you the weather app. So I'm going to say ruby weather.rb. So this first app that you're going to create is just a CLI. So we have an API key and it connects to this online website and it gets the data from this online website. So it says, welcome to the Ruby weather CLI. Enter the city name. I'm in Valencia, so I'll enter Valencia. And as you can see, it says weather in Valencia, Spain. The temperature is 31 degrees, which sounds about right. It's pretty hot. The description's clear sky. That's right, there is clear sky. Humidity 44 and wind speed 5.15 meters per second. If I go again and I enter the app again and I enter, let's say London, let's see the weather in London. And as you can see, it gives us the temperature, 27 degrees nearly. So yeah, this is the first app you're going to build. Now the second app that you're going to build is going to be a to-do list. So if I navigate to my terminal and then I run ruby todo.rb, as you can see, I can list the tasks, I can add a task, I can mark a task as done, I can delete a task, or I can exit. So first I'm going to list the tasks. As you can see, I already have one task there and it's in my JSON file. So it says title make coffee, done is false. And as you can see, it shows up here as title make coffee. So I'm going to add a task. So I'm going to say add a task and we're going to enter the tasks. So we're going to say make breakfast, hit enter. And as you can see, the task was added. And now if we list the tasks, as you can see, it was added and make breakfast is the second task. Then if I want to mark a task as done, I can just go and click on option 3 and mark the task as done. So I'm going to click on click breakfast. And as you can see, the task has been marked as done. So now when I go and I list my tasks, as you can see, it says X here because it has actually been done. So it's been crossed out. So I'm going to exit now and show you the third app. So the third app you're going to build is just going to be a Ruby calculator. So it's going to be quite simple. So I'm going to do ruby calculator.rb. So as you can see, just enter your first number. I'll say 93.5. And then you just enter your operator. So what you want to do, whether it's plus, minus, multiply, or divide. So I'm going to want to divide. So I'll enter the slash. And then I'll enter the second number. And let's say we want to divide 93.5 by 20. And we'll enter. And as you can see, the result is 4.675. So that's exactly what we're going to build. The penultimate app that we're going to build is going to be a number guessing game. So I'll just get the number guessing game for you now. So as you can see, it says, I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 100. You have 7 tries to guess it. Your guess or cue to quit. So we can just quit if we want, but let's try and guess it. So the best way to do this is to go split it in half always. So it says too high if I enter 50. So because we entered 50 and it says too high, that means it's between 0 and 50. So then I'll just do 25. It says too low. That means it's between 25 and 50. So then I'll do 37, and then as you can see, it actually says correct in 3 tries. The number was 37. So then we can play again or we can exit. So I'll say no, and this says thanks for playing. And then the final app that we're going to build is going to be an expense tracker. So let me just go and get this up here. And this one actually has a GUI, so we can actually not use the CLI. We're actually going to use a GUI. So as you can see on the screen now, we have a little GUI here, and what I can do is add my expenses. So it's a very simple app. So I'm going to add my expenses, so it's going to be in the category of food. We're going to say weekly shop, and the amount is just going to be $150. So then I can add this, and as you can see, it's added to this JSON, and we can filter by month if we want. And the total expenses down here is $150, and it's saved to the JSON file. So those are the 5 apps that we're going to be building in this video. I'm absolutely sure that these apps will increase your Ruby skills. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is just cd out of this directory and cd out of this one, and then go into YouTube. And then I'm going to make a dir called Ruby. And then inside of here, we're going to cd into Ruby. And then what I'm going to do is just open this up in Visual Studio Code. Okay, so the first app that we're going to be building is a weather app. So we can get the weather in any city, and I'm going to provide you with an API key that I found online. So let's click on new file and then click on weather.rb. So now we've created our first Ruby file. In this video, I'm assuming that you do have Ruby already installed. So make sure you already have Ruby installed and check your version. I'm using version 3.4.4, and this is obviously on Ubuntu. Okay, so we're in the weather.rb file, and there's a few things that we need to do first. So because we're actually connecting to a website on the internet and we're going to get the data from an API, what we actually need to do is we need to get a gem called require HTTP party. So we need to write require, and then we're going to say in quotes HTTP party. And then we also are going to need require JSON. So let's add JSON as well. And then the API key, we'll just add a placeholder for now, or your API key. And then the base URL, http api.openweathermap.org data/2.5/weather. And then inside of here, we're going to need a few methods. So the first method we're going to need is called def_fetch_weather. And we're going to pass in the city param, because when we're actually fetching the weather, we're going to need to actually know which city we want to fetch it for. So that's the first method we're going to need. Then we're going to need a method to actually display the weather. So we're going to say display the weather, and we're going to pass in data here, and then we'll say end. Then we're going to need an actual main method, so we can actually add that in here. And that should be it for now. So I'm just going to save the file, and it's going to automatically format it because I added my extensions. And the first thing that we're going to do is actually work in the main method. So inside here, we're just going to say puts welcome to the weather app. That's fine. And then we can say print enter city name, enter a city name. So all this code does is puts welcome to the weather app. So it prints to the screen welcome to the weather app, and then it gets from the user a city name via the print method. So then we just want to say city is equal to gets.chomp.strip. The strip just gets rid of the white space, and this gets.chomp is basically just getting what we get when we actually enter something after the print. So then after that, we're going to say if city.empty, and then we can say end, and then we just puts city name cannot be empty, please try again, and then we return. So all we're doing here is we're saying if the city is empty, then we're going to say the city name can't be empty, please go back to the main method and enter a city name. So now imagine the user has actually entered a city. What we're going to do is create a new variable. We're going to say weather data is equal to fetch weather city. And then we're going to say down here if_weather data. Then we're going to display the weather data. Else we're just going to put could not fetch weather data. Please check the city name and try again. So pretty much here we're saying if we have the weather data variable and we actually were able to get it from the fetch weather, then we're going to actually display the weather onto the screen. So we're going to be able to actually access the actual weather in the city. So now let's go and work in our fetch weather method, and inside of here basically what we want is a URL. So we want a URL, and that's going to be the base URL, and it's pretty much going to be, so pretty much with this URL we're going to go to this URL and then retrieve the data. So you need to make sure that your URL looks exactly like my URL, so it's including these two variables, which is the base URL and the API key, because we need an API key to actually access this weather. The API key usually costs money, but I've managed to secure one somehow online. And pretty much to actually access this URL, we're going to go response is equal to http party.get URL. So again, we're using our HTTP party to actually go to this URL and get the data. And we're going to have to install this gem. So we can go to the terminal now and we can just run gem install HTTP party. And as you can see, that's going to install the gem. So now that we're actually parsing the response, what we're going to do is say if the response.code is equal to 200, so that means it's a success. Then basically what we're going to do is we're going to parse it with JSON.parse response.body. And if it was not a success of 200, we're going to say there was an error fetching the weather data, the response.message, and we're going to say nil. So now we have a method to actually get the user to enter the city and to actually fetch the weather, but we don't have anything to display the weather. So what we need is an actual method to display the weather. So inside of here, we're just going to say city is equal to data, name, country is equal to data, sys country, the temperature is equal to data main temp. And pretty much here we're just defining variables to actually display to the user, because we don't know which variables to display. We don't want to display everything the API sends back, so we want to just narrow down what we actually need. So instead of country here, I'll just add this bracket. The description is just going to be data weather 0. You can see Copilot is just completing everything for me now. Humidity is going to be data main humidity. And then wind speed, if you're interested in wind speed, is going to be data wind speed. So pretty much we have our data now, and all we need to do is actually display to the screen, because right now we're not displaying anything to the screen. So we just need to add some puts methods to display all of this data to the screen. So to do this, what we're just going to do is we're going to say puts, and then we can just say weather in the city and the country, and then we can just say puts the temperature. So we're basically just putting the temperature, and then we're adding in our temp variable. So that's how that works. And then we're just going to do the rest, the same with the rest of them. So I'm going to say puts description, and that's going to be the description.capitalize, and then puts humidity, it's going to be our humidity, and then puts wind speed, it's going to be our wind speed. And in fact, we'll add a when the data was changed, so data was fetched at that time. And we're going to add a thank you for using the weather app as well. So guys, now with all of this done and with our HTTP party gem installed, all we have to do is add the API key. and then this small Ruby application should be working. So let's go and add the API key here. So I'm just gonna fully just type it out. So BD5E378850393DDAEE76F12AD7A97608. All right, so if I haven't entered it wrong, everything is going to be working. And let's go and check that now. So I'll go and enter the terminal, and I'm going to go and I'm going to say ruby weather.rb. So ruby weather.rb. That's going to run that weather.rb file. And when we try to run this file, as you can see, nothing is actually happening. And the reason is because we're not actually calling the main method at the start. So at the end of the code, what we can do is we can just add main. And then what that is going to do is literally just call the main method. Because we have everything in methods, these methods are not going to call themselves, so we have to actually add main at the end of the file, because main, if we add main before main is defined, then obviously it's not going to know what main is. So now when we try and run weather.rb, as you can see, it says welcome to the weather app, enter a city name. This time I'm going to check the city in Dublin. So enter. As you can see, it says the weather in Dublin, US. So it's getting the wrong Dublin. Anyway, the temperature is 15 degrees. The description is overcast, cloudy. Humidity is 85%, and data was fetched there. And thank you for using the weather app. So then I'll just go back and I'll say Valencia just to see what it says. The data has changed slightly from just 10 minutes ago. But yeah, guys, our weather app is working, and that is our first app complete. Guys, I decided to make the rest of the video pro content. So if you want to get access to this, all you have to do is go to MalachiRails.com, sign up to the pro version, and then you'll get access to this and many more videos like this. It's my website, and it offers you really good value for money because it saves you lots of time when learning Ruby on Rails and Ruby. So if you want to watch the rest of the video, go to MalachiRails.com. And thank you for watching, guys. Subscribe if you like this video and hit like.